Evil Squid Comics Podcast. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network.
Don.
Scott.
Andrew. All right, Scott. So we're back for more punishment because I almost didn't read this because after we read Supergirl, because someone said it's like the same narrative structure as Supergirl, right? Well, Woman of Tomorrow or whatever. Like you got like a character, and then you got like a secondary character who's like narrating the whole thing, you know?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. I mean, I love that. I love Bilquis, whatever her name is, Art Evelyn Bilquis or Bilquis Evely. I love her art, and so I'm like, man, I want to read this. But it's Tom King. He's doing the same shit he did with Supergirl. I was like, I don't know. So I read it, and I actually really liked it.
That's good. The best thing about it is the art.
Okay, so it didn't attach to you the same way
it did not hit me the same way.
Okay.
I thought it was rather boring and long.
All right, so the basic setup is there's this girl, and she's like 17 or 16, and she's been living with her dad, and her dad's like a writer of like pulp stories or whatever. And so her dad dies from like drinking or whatever, and so then she's abandoned. So she has to go back and live with her grandfather.
He committed suicide.
That's right. So she has to go back and live with her grandfather. Well, it turns out her grandfather has this giant mansion, and her grandfather is also apparently
he's gone like all the
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he's able to go to this different dimension world where he has all these adventures,
through like a wardrobe.
Yeah, almost.
Pretty close.
But it's like through like
some
the woods,
weird ass door in the woods or something.
Yeah,
he's got to give like some teeth to some old freaking hag in order to go through a door in a hut or something, and he comes out the other side into some weird ass world.
Good question.
They explain that actually, believe it or not. So
it's supposed to be from him, but it's not. But
he tricks her all the time.
He tricks her all the time, but she knows it. She's in on it.
But she knows it anyway. So yes.
So anyway, so it turns out. So the trick is that this girl's dad, who was writing these stories, was really writing those stories about his father, her grandfather, like his real adventures. And so then they eventually bond, and she starts going on adventures with him into this world. They
the granddaughter goes with the grandfather, and they go into these adventures in this other world.
So it's really about the building of this relationship between the daughter and the grandfather. What I dug is that I'm a big.
That's why Drew loved it.
It could be.
I did feel like on that emotional level, it did connect with me a little bit, and so I think that's what worked for me. Is like I did care about the characters. I like seeing that bond and understand. Like,
I did appreciate the kind of, it's not taking. It's taking a different aspect of things. It's got that nostalgia, yet something original. It's an original idea, story, but yet you're in these fantasy worlds that are somewhat familiar to people.
Sure.
So I did appreciate that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, are you guys a Conan fan at all? Are you familiar with Robert E. Howard?
I know who he is. I've never read anything.
So Robert E. Howard wrote Conan stories, and he like killed himself at like age 30 or something, like fairly young or whatever. And so this totally felt like the author was supposed to be Conan. Robert E. Howard didn't have a daughter, but whatever. I mean, and so it had that whole like vibe, pulpy Conan, Robert E. Howard kind of thing. And so I kind of appreciated some of those little Easter eggs a little bit.
Okay. See, I felt more like it was almost trying to be something towards like Odin and Thor or something in some cases with the way that they were going, because they were always drinking freaking beer and everything else, everywhere that they went.
For sure.
So I almost felt it was something trying to be towards the Norse gods.
And I think it's only like 5 or 6 issues, so it's not as long as Supergirl either. So I think that helps. Like, I mean,
but it's freaking wordy.
It's pretty wordy. Jeez. I didn't feel like I said, it didn't bother me as much as Supergirl.
And I think that was probably
my name is Tom King, and I like to write words.
Well, he does like to write words.
And that's the thing is that something is up, and that there's something going on here, and that the grandfather's not all that it seems. But I mean, for Jesus Christ, I think you got to get. I mean, I'm 50 freaking pages in, and I still don't know what the hell is going on here for sure. I mean, I got to get the freaking. I'm almost halfway through before they even show her going into the other world. And even then, they don't show her. Do that. She comes back and tells the damn story to the freaking narrator. So I'm like. You built this all up, and then you don't even show us. You finally do get to a point where you do show some things, in here, but still, it's all this tale that this girl is telling to the person then who's narrating to somebody else. So it's like, I heard from this person who did this.
So that's the other thing that I forgot. There's a story within the story
that is true too.
That I mentioned that I felt like was a little forced. Didn't really work,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
But there's a story about like this guy's writings. There's people present day who are like fans of this character and the writings and want to know all the secret history and want to know about the daughter and the grandfather and all this stuff. And they're like collecting memorabilia and stuff. And it shows like the memorabilia go through like generations a little bit,
Yeah.
like
And
so.
how it all depreciated for the most part for
Yeah,
something that was really cool and at the time to a point where I got this box of old cassettes for like I'll give them to you for 50 cents in a garage sale.
That sounds like an analogy for comic books.
So
there's a little bit of that. Yeah,
there could be some of that too, and I'm
Um,
sure that there was some purpose
are
probably
you
behind some of
are
the.
you on the Tom King train? Like, are
not
you?
anymore. No,
I mean, but you were up until this book.
no, no. I
No,
was
no,
I was
no, no.
off. I
Yeah,
mostly did this for the art.
he was off at
At the Supergirl one or
Supergirl,
before
I was
that?
totally off. Before that,
yeah,
I didn't really like that last thing
the
we
Human
read.
Target or whatever.
Human
Or
Target was okay.
But that was
Um,
the art.
that was mostly
it
art, but
was
the story
mostly
was
art. But
okay.
that's the thing is that Tom King's finding some great artists,
Yeah.
that he's working with, and
No, I
honestly,
didn't like
that's hanging me on more than his writing.
I feel
Sheriff
like,
of Babylon. I didn't like.
yeah, I feel like I ditched the Tom King train a
Yeah, I'm
long
off the
time
top.
ago.
I don't know. And I may be expecting more. I'm not sure
Mr.
what it
Miracle?
is, but
I like
it's
that.
Yeah,
there's
That's good.
just
I liked Adam Strange too.
for
Strange
something
Adventures.
yeah,
in which took a long time. There's a lot of words to boot in order to
yeah.
tell this. But to overall though, I really like the art so much that it really did keep me going. And there is a certain way with the exposition that I did like, in some cases, but it still overall, by the time I got through it, I was kind of like, that was it. I read this thing for 170 pages. This was it, or something. So, uh, it just, it
Oh,
wasn't the worst of anything, but it just wasn't, a huge hit either.
Danger Street was the other one that killed me on Tom King. I
Mm,
hated Danger Street.
mhm.
Oh, Danger Street. I think I
You didn't read that one.
did. I not? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
It
so.
sounds familiar. Maybe it was a case in which you said, Scott, don't read that one.
Yeah, I'm sure I did because it was bad. So
Okay.
yeah.